Hello, gorgeous beings of light. This is Elmara. I'm not sure if you caught that kookaburra just as I went to record. He just burst into song. How fabulous. Welcome to the 100 Miracles in 100 Days project and the fifth dimension activation and effortless manifesting. Miracle number 59. As mentioned yesterday, we're going to tell the miracle first. Then we'll do the activation, and then the effortless manifesting part of it just flows on from there when you're in a state of connected to your divine I am presence. So let's just begin by taking some big belly breaths or soft, gentle breaths, doesn't really matter. Just follow the breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Do this several times. Until you feel your awareness come back within your being into this present moment. And you can move on to breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. For those of you arriving here new today, the best way to get the most out of these free, powerful, fifth dimension and beyond activations is simply to breathe and notice what comes up. And if something comes up, just keep breathing because it's likely to be coming to the surface to be healed. And that would be because I usually have meditated in today's case for 5 hours prior to doing this recording. So all of the new upgrades and source codes that are required at this powerful time of awakening are embedded in my voice. So the miracle story is just something to help you receive those while listening to a fantastic miracle. We're then going to do the first step of my fifth dimension activation. And we've gone to doing those here, like at the end of it now, instead of at the beginning. Because a lot of people were complaining that they get in this state of bliss and then I was yapping and it was annoying them. The annoying bit is the bit that you should be looking at. But it makes sense now, and I don't know how I missed it really, like 60 miracles in almost, at 59 anyway. That, well, it's 58 because I recognised yesterday that it's probably best to do the miracle first, just as it says the miracle, 100 miracles in 100 days, plus fifth dimension activation, plus effortless manifesting. So that's the order we're doing them in for the last 41 of them, or 42, so. Just continue to breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Bring your awareness into your being. And sorry, I've meditated in such bliss that I just slipped over to the other side myself, but just about didn't come back. And just breathe while I share this spectacular miracle, again proving that source can help you with anything. So it's a bit funny really, and it goes back like 30 odd years, because I think she was born in 1993. So same friend from Margaret River. Just to kind of give you a bit of background, remember, for those of you who are new, 40 odd years ago we had no mobile phones, no internet. Most of us just had a landline, and my friend who I'd been bridesmaids for some years earlier already had one baby. This was her second child. But her second child, and I couldn't get her on the phone. and she had been due 2 weeks earlier. So these friends were close enough that I could just drive down and rock up and stay at their place. That's how it was back then. And so I went from Perth down to Margaret River where they lived. There's background on Margaret River in yesterday's story, so I'm not going into that again. The background to this story is when I arrived, she's still there. She's still pregnant and she hasn't had her baby and she's 2 weeks late. And I just thought because I couldn't get them on the phone, it must have been because they were at the hospital. And we didn't even have voicemail back then. So unless you had a old-fashioned, what they used to call them, like an answering machine on your phone, then you didn't even know if somebody had called. So that's why I took off down to Margaret River on the weekend. When I get there, Janine's still not had her baby. She's 2 weeks overdue. And if she wasn't born by the 9th, she was going to be induced on the 9th. And I was like, this just tells you how, like, I believe in completely different things now, but I was into numerology, as everybody who gets in the very beginning of their spiritual journey. I was into astrology and numerology, and I was like, no, she cannot be born on the 9th of the 3rd, 1993. She will just have way too many 9s and way too many 3s and way too many gaps in her chart. She must be born tomorrow on the 8th. So I'd got there like obviously the afternoon of the 7th. She has to be born tomorrow, Janine. She just has to be born tomorrow. The poor kid cannot have that many. I mean, I now believe that we are infinite beings, and it doesn't matter what number's on your chart. So long as you know that you're a God source being of light, you can do anything you want with your life. It's not about the numbers, it's about who you are. But back then I believed that the numbers were going to affect this poor child. And so I got all these crystals out and I got everything kind of like happening, and I was pressing acupuncture points up her leg to bring on the birth, and was talking to the baby saying, come on darling, you have to be born tomorrow. You cannot be born on the 9th. You poor thing, you'll just have a terrible life with that many heady numbers and nothing else in your chart. At least if she was born on the 8th, she would have one number on the physical plane, one number on the spiritual plane, and all these other numbers on the head plane, on the mental plane. So, because 1, 4, and 7 are the physical numbers for those who don't know. 2, 5, and 8 are the spiritual numbers, and 3, 6, and 9 are the mental numbers. So I'm doing all this poking and everything, and Janine finally gets tired around 11, 12 o'clock at night. About 12 o'clock it was we went to bed. But I couldn't sleep because I could feel the energy. And I didn't know what it was back then. Well, I didn't know that it was this until it happened a few hours later. But I just couldn't sleep. I was just so excited. It's almost like I could feel the energy of the spirit coming through, being the baby, but also the energy of all of the angels that were present to help her come into this world, which, I didn't know all of that back then, but I certainly know that that's the case now. And she, just breathe for me, please. Just breathe. This might be a bit tricky for some of you, but just breathe. These are real things that happened 40 odd years ago, and heaps more exciting things can happen now with the world being far more awake than it was 40 odd years ago. And so just got into bed. Took me ages to go to sleep, and I'd just gone off to sleep, and Mick knocks on my door and goes, come on, Elle, it's happening. And I went, you're kidding me? And the contractions had come, and they'd come quite fast, and it was about... I think it was about 3 a.m. in the morning. It was either 2 or 3 a.m. I can't remember if it was 3 hours later or 2 hours later, so it'll be either 3 or whatever. And we were at the hospital, and Janine obviously was kind of having some contraction pains. And again, long time ago, didn't have all the equipment that they have now. And she was sitting up in a beanbag. Oh, first of all, she was sitting on the toilet because it was the only thing that gave her comfort. And the nurses came in and found her and said, oh, you need to be sitting in this beanbag. So they get this beanbag, and the nurses all say to us, this is a funny part, oh, would you guys like a cup of tea? It's around 5 a.m. in the morning now. And we go, oh, yeah, we'd love one, thank you. And anyway, Mick's sitting in the chair in front of her. I'm sitting alongside of her. We've just got our cup of teas. Next thing, Janine's water breaks and it's just shooting straight for Mick's cup of tea. And he, like he is a New Zealander, become Aussie, but he had all the Aussie lingo down. And he just grabs his cup of tea and moves sideways and goes, oh, bloody hell, and moves his cup of tea out the way of her water that was shooting straight for it. And we both started to laugh, and poor old Janine starts to cry, going, don't laugh at me. And we were, oh, darling, we're not laughing at you, we're just laughing at the situation. Mick says to me, do you think I should go get a nurse? I said, I think maybe, just check it. Anyway, the woman's sister, because she just sat down to a cup of tea at 5 o'clock in the morning, comes in and goes, oh my God, Janine, will you please settle down? Will you settle down? This baby won't be here till at least lunchtime. And she does a little check and she goes, oh shit, this baby's here right now. And it was just like, we didn't get our cup of tea. It was just full on. They hadn't even set up the like the theatre room, because I didn't think she'd be there till midday. And so next thing, she's on a trolley, they're racing her down into the theatre room, they're calling the doctor, and the nurse, we just said that I was Janine's sister, because back in those days you weren't allowed in the room. It's lucky they even let men in at that point, because 20 years earlier they wouldn't even let men in the birthing rooms, but they'd come a little way and allowed the dad to be there if he wanted to be. But you weren't allowed anyone else there unless you were relatives, and we just said I was her sister, So, so the nurse plonks me down at the end of the bed. I said, I just want to see what this is like in case I change my mind about having any kids. And she smiled, and anyway, and they're going, Janine, don't push, Janine, don't push. And like, this was all like she was born at 8 minutes past 5, and they didn't race her down there till after 5. And I'm standing at the end of the bed, and like the rush of energy. I've since been at another birth, and I recognise later that it was the rush of all the angels and the spirit coming down the birth canal and all of that sort of stuff. But I was just so, and she just came out. She was out before the doctors even got here. The nurses delivered her, and I'm there like at the end of the bed. Like, so in the energy had got to me, because I didn't know what was going on. It's a girl, and it's got red hair. It's a girl, and she's got red hair. It's a girl, and it's got red hair. And Janine rolls over and goes, oh, shut up, Al, But it was just the excitement of it was just so breathtaking. Anyway, the doctor arrives about 5 minutes later, and it's all over. He just checks she's okay. Whatever. It's always the women who do all the work anyway. And so he leaves and leaves the women to sort it out. So that's my story. And this is what's really important, was that her first baby had some trouble being born. It was a long, long birth after all that big miracle to keep him here. They nearly lost him in the ambulance as he was being trucked to Bunbury because there were special circumstances there. And so trucked, meaning ambulanced, sorry. Not all your words come out when you're channeling. And so, so one, we changed her birth date to the 8th of the 3rd, 1993. And 2, Janine had been really concerned, and that might have been what was holding up the baby because of her fear of what had happened with the first baby. But anyway, when we got there, we got the blooming acupuncture points done, And it just proves that they're not all the same. The other birth had taken like 18 or 19 hours, and cord was caught around his throat, I think, from memory. This one happened in less than 3 hours from the time we got to the hospital and contraction started. And she flew into the world 100 mile an hour, and that girl has been going 100 mile an hour since then. And she's got babies of her own now. So the circle of life. Just breathe for me, please. Gosh, that took me a bit longer than I expected to tell you, but it doesn't matter what your numerology numbers are. I don't even look them up anymore, except to occasionally add the numbers up and see what ruling number you are, because it gives me an idea of what your path is. But if you're here on Earth right now, there is this en masse awakening happening, and it doesn't really matter. You can just get on board with that and be all good with that. So just breathe for me, please. And just begin to breathe in through your nose and out through your nose, and bring your awareness into your being and see if you can sense some energy in your fingertips. And it doesn't matter if you can't, just see if it's there. It is there. You just may not be able to feel it because your energy field is too dense. So just keep doing these activations. And 38 to 40 days in, you will be able to feel stuff. It's kind of like when you put a cup of hot water with a cup of cold water, you get warm water. You've got boiling hot water in me because I've been doing this stuff for over 40 years. And if your vibration is left, all you have to do is listen and breathe. It's so freaking exciting. So anyway, take a big breath in through the nose. Breathe out through the nose, raise your hands to the sun and tie your energy around the sun above you. You can imagine you're doing this, or you can stand out on Mother Earth barefoot and do this. Breathe in. Draw a huge scoop of that golden source light from the sun that gives light and life to everything on Earth. Breathe out into your 100 trillion cells and your 100 trillion telomeres, and take the last 5% as you're moving your hands down now, pointing them into the core of Mother Earth. Tie that energy around the core of Mother Earth. Breathe in. Draw all that energy up from the core of Mother Earth. Breathe that earth energy out into your body. Take the last 5% up to the sun. And I move my hands up with this. Why? Because if you do Qigong or Tai Chi, that's why people get in when they're just moving. They get there faster, because while your mind is occupied doing something, your soul is able to slip in easier. So breathe in and draw that energy down through your crown. Breathe out into your being. And even if you can only take small, gentle breaths, doesn't matter. Just do the actions and follow the breath down, what's last, into the earth. Tie the energy around earth. Breathe in. Draw that energy up. Breathe it out into your body. Take the last 5% up to the sun. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now, as mentioned, best done barefoot on Mother Earth, but it is also awesome. You can do it sitting up, and if you're unwell, you can do it laying down and imagining you're doing it. But it is best to do it at the start of your day, so it has time to work through your day. You do it late at night and you have a big thing happen, you might just be awake for hours. So just breathe. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out, and that's it. Now, it just seems like the simplest exercise, but there's heaps of stuff that happens with you aligning yourself with the earth and the sun, aligning your being, your body, your 100 trillion cells of bliss with the earth and the sun. For one, the very first thing it does is it lines up all of your meridian lines. Your meridian lines used to go from the earth, core of Mother Earth, all the way up to the sun and even beyond, like 3,000 plus years ago. Now, most people's meridian lines are stuffed up from their head to their toe. So getting into that flow is what's going to bring you more abundance. But it's also when you're in this still place now that you can ask, how can I manifest my soulmate? How can I have more unconditional love in my life? How can I manifest $5,000? Whatever you want. How can I manifest a fitter, healthier, stronger body? And then let it go and just keep doing this breath. Breathing in through the nose. Drawing the energy down, breathing out the energy into your body. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now, if you come back tomorrow and you're smart, you will start doing this breath while I'm telling the miracle story. And then when I actually do the activation at the end of the miracle, you'll be tripping on bliss. Because doing it for 20 minutes a day, 22 minutes a day, is the thing that's really going to bring about results. And as I often say, there's 1,440 minutes in every day. You just need to gift yourself 22 of those. Make yourself a priority. I'm just going to give you a quick blast of 5D gorgeousness. Breathe, and if you drift away from your breath, bring it back into breathing in through the nose and out through the nose and focusing on that only. Alrighty. Love, love, love. My deepest love and richest blessings to you all. Have a truly blessed day, and I look forward to being with you again tomorrow. Bye for now.